family.
I mean, it was daunting, obviously, to go into any organization where there's going to be a culture as such, and you're not privy to what that is. And I think leading up to it, I had a lot of questions, and so I was a little nervous. But as soon as I stepped on set, the way in which I was welcomed, and like Jason talked to before, there is this sense of family and kinship, and I just felt very much, warmly welcomed and accepted, and there was a genuine sort of enthusiasm. And I think what's really cool about Grey's Anatomy, even after 12 years, the thing that shocked me the most was how much people are actually enjoying their job. I thought it was going to be a lot of people who were tired, who've been doing the same thing for over a decade. They were, maybe bit over it and apathetic, and that wasn't the case at all. There was a real sort of sense of enthusiasm and energy, and that felt really great.
Well, and I think in particular this season, I think there was a conscious effort for everybody. I mean, Ellen gave a pep talk, at this dinner that we had at the beginning of the season, and it was just, if anybody's going to be burnt out and kind of just like showing up to just punch the clock and roll home, Ellen's earned that right. And when we saw how excited she was to still be doing this show, everybody got really excited about it again.
I mean, I think the show has been pretty seamless about bringing in new cast members and folding them in with old storylines and, the existing cast members. I mean, you can talk to that as well.
Sorry? What?
I was going to talk about how the cast has been great about the show has been great about folding in new characters with existing cast members.
Yeah, I mean, with the losses of Sandra Oh and Patrick last year, I think the show definitely needed some new blood, and it wasn't necessarily about replacing anyone, but just shaking up the hospital a little bit with some new characters and seeing if there's some other places that we could take the show. And like Martin said, it was a really welcoming cast and crew, and the writers immediately came up to me and said, if you guys want to come in the writer room and pitch us ideas for your character, you can totally feel comfortable to do that. So that was nice as an actor, because I don't feel like there's a lot of collaboration oftentimes in television. It's just too fast. So yeah.
Martin, when are we going to find out about what your secret is with Owen?
I'm more interested in when I'm going to find out what my secret is with Owen. I mean, one of the things I haven't done a lot of ongoing television in America, but I think it's pretty unusual from what I hear that the way Shonda writes, it's very much like an improvisation. She doesn't necessarily know where she wants to go with a character or a particular relationship, and a lot of her ideas and her process is actually stimulated by what she sees in the editing room when she puts different characters together, and she'll see maybe it's a sexual chemistry or maybe some comedy that comes out that was unexpected, and then if she likes that and feels that it's genuine, then she writes to it. And so I'm kind of waiting, like everybody else who watches the show, to see exactly what the details were, but I can say that last week, the table read, I got
some interesting news about your character, yeah.
Surprise! I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't playing that at all.
Now you will be.
And now I guess I will be. And that's sort of the genius of Shonda. She just keeps you guessing in a way, and it should feel more gratuitous, and somehow characters and relationships take these crazy turns, but there's something so genuine about the storytelling that you buy it, even when it seems like you've jumped the shark, so to speak. There's something grounded and believable about the show, even when it goes into the absurd or the comedic. There's something very real at the heart of who these characters are. So I'm excited to find out who I am.
So are we. I also love how the show can go into the emotional. I know you guys haven't seen that episode, but it was so emotional and so deep, and it brought a whole new level. I think the way that show can balance back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but I remember, like I said, reading that script at the table read, and it stuck with us. And then I remember actually shooting the scenes where we are all operating on Meredith Grey. Was intense, and the line that I keep coming back to is when Justin's character, Alex Karev, comes in, and that's his sister. I mean, that's his
Says we're all family.
We're all
Broke my
family.
heart.
Everybody's her family here, and I remember when we were shooting that, and you know, it was a long day, and you know, and it was one of those days where you feel, you know, where look, paychecks are nice, you know, getting, you know, accolades are nice, but at the end of the day, when you're a performer, when you're in this business, you've joined the circus. Really what you want at the end of your career is some great relationships. You want to have those collaborations with people that mean something. And that was one of those days that I look back on, I mean, capped off by the fact that Denzel was directing, but there was a moment where I'm having to support Ellen because in order to get as close to the camera, all of us are trying to pack into the camera to give as much as, you know, like literally there's like 8 actors all trying to cram into a 2-foot space right beside the camera as tight as possible so that Katarina can have an eye line. And on a lot of sets, that would have been a moment where they said, okay, everybody go home, and Katarina had this incredibly intense personal moment, and we're gonna put a tennis ball there, we're gonna put a grip there, and you do it opposite nothing, and you've gotta do all the work on your own. And as a cast, we kind of universally call bullshit on that, and we show up for each other. And that was one of those moments, you know, I was a chair for Ellen. I was laying there and holding her and trying to secure her, and everybody's leaning, and we're all taking care of each other. And it was a, you know, and then, you know, Debbie Allen and Denzel Washington sitting behind camera. It was really surreal. I was like, this is it, I think. This is, you know, it's only down from here. I can only screw the whole thing up from here.